Amen. Today is a good day. Tell your neighbor, say today is a good day. Today is a good day. Amen. The Church of Nigeria, when I say God, they do better thing for our church. Today, for our needs, we have our needs. My father has told us for this one. From Kenya and to the glory of God is here to serve the Church of Nigeria. All the time. That is. Thank you. For those who don't know me, I am Abuna Vilas, and I thank God to be here. Always the Church of Nigeria has been a blessing to me. I remember the blessings that I received last time I was here, and there were so many blessings that if I start to count, there will be so much. Because from this church, I became the first deacon, especially in Kenya, the first full deacon. I became for Bishop Paul here in this church. And from after that, when I went, after me there were so many deacons. Now we have more than 15 full deacons in Kenya. And then I became a priest. So from this church is a blessing. And when I was coming here in Nigeria, I remember the blessings that I received the last time I was here. And truly, Nigeria is a blessed church. Praise the Lord. And I am so happy to be here with you again. And thank you, my Father, for welcoming me. I am looking forward to a good time that we will serve together these nice people, these good people of Nigeria. Glory be to God. And we also have missionaries. I know you know them. They introduce themselves. Yes, they can say hi. I want to hear them say hi. They say hi when I was not around. Maybe you can just stand and wave. And Maria was hi, Mary. Mariam, yes. Thank you so much. So I am very blessed to be here, and I thank God to be here. And I also thank Bishop Paul that loves the Church of Nigeria so much. The Church of Nigeria is in the heart of the bishop so much that you see what I'm saying is bringing new visitors. The missionaries are coming. This means that the bishop loves you so much, and he wants to see the church grow so much, and he loves the spirit here that is in Nigeria. Glory be to God. So the gospel of today, if I go to the gospel of today is from St. Luke chapter 5 from verse 27 to 39. And the gospel is speaking about, I have named the gospel Follow Me. Praise the Lord. So this is what the title that I want to give the gospel is to Follow Me. So Jesus is telling us today, if you read the first verses, he's saying after these things he went and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at the tax office and said to him, Follow me. Praise be to God. So Jesus is telling us in the gospel of this Sunday, the first word that he says that, follow me. Praise be to God. What does following Jesus mean? Because we will see, he was telling Levi that follow me, but the first place they went, if someone tries to follow me, what do you expect them to take you? Somewhere nice or in their place, right? But when he said follow me, where did he go? He went into Levi's house. So who was following who? Praise be to Jesus. Who was following who? Jesus followed Levi to his house, but he told Levi, follow me. So why was he saying follow me? Praise be to God. Because he was telling Levi, follow me, and he followed Levi to his house. And then, why did he want Levi to follow him? So as I understand this, Jesus wanted Levi to follow him the way of his life, how he lives. So he wanted Levi to take example from him. Because in this world today, so many people follow so many different things. And so many people follow even different people. We follow people, sometimes we follow people of the world, sometimes we follow celebrities, sometimes we follow things that are in the world. But when Jesus availed himself to Levi, he told him to follow me. And he was ready to show him an example to follow. Because sometimes we look at examples to follow around us, but we don't find good examples. Sometimes we try to find people that we can follow, but we don't see who has a good example to follow. So this is why Jesus is telling us today, follow me. Praise be to Jesus. So if you are lost, he's telling Levi, if you are lost, and Levi's me today, Levi's you today, is telling us, if you are lost, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to do. Jesus is telling you, follow. If you follow me, you will find the way. Praise be to Jesus. Jesus is telling us, follow me, because at this moment, Levi was lost. Why was he lost in the eyes of the Israelites? He was a tax collector. The Bible is telling us he saw a tax collector. And you know the life of tax collectors during this time was a very difficult life. Because the Israelites were being, they were colonized by the people of the Romans. And working with the Romans was like a betrayal to the people of Israel. So it was like they were lost because they left their people and they joined the enemy of their people. So they were lost. But Jesus and everyone hated them. And no one wanted to be close to them. No one wanted even to speak to them. And even where they were living, they were lonely. No one was speaking to them. But see, when Jesus comes, he goes to this person who is lost, who is lonely, who no one wants to share, who no one wants to be close to. And he tells him, I know you are lost, Levi. I know that you don't know the way, and I am not coming here to judge you. I have come only to show you the way. Praise be to Jesus. So this also teaches us that when we follow Jesus, first example that we see from Jesus is that Jesus does not judge anyone. Jesus does not judge anyone. Glory be to God. Because when I will follow Jesus, when I want to follow Jesus, the first example that I follow is that Jesus went into Levi's house. It means that everyone was judging Levi, but Jesus did not do what? Did not judge. So when I follow the example of Jesus, now I want to live like Jesus. He's telling me, follow me. Everyone in the world, everyone is judging the neighbor. Everyone knows, everyone has opinion about other people's life, but they don't have opinion about their own life. Praise be to Jesus. So everyone has opinion, but you see, Jesus does not speak about the life of Levi. He only says that you follow me. I have not come here to judge you. And then in verse 28, he says, so he left, all rose up and followed him. Praise be to Jesus. So imagine you are in the place where no one wants to be close to you. No one wants to hear what you are saying. No one wants to associate with you. No one wants to have anything to do with you. But Jesus comes and says, follow me. Jesus, at this time, he was known because he was a teacher. Because after several verses, you will see, even the Pharisees, whom people used to go to, were following Jesus. And they were seeing everything that Jesus was doing. It means by this time, Jesus was a big man. Because Pharisees were big people in Israel during that time. But also then, they left everything and they were following who? They were following Jesus. But they were not following Jesus to be his true followers. They were following Jesus to criticize. Praise be to God. So they were also following Jesus. But Levi left out. So everyone knew Jesus. And Levi was surprised. Jesus, who is a big man, I thought maybe we'll go to a house of a Pharisee. Because Pharisee is a righteous person. Maybe we'll go to a house of a priest. But he goes to a place where the tax collector, someone who has been outcast, someone who no one wants to do anything with, and then he tells him, follow me. Praise be to Jesus. I may be that person today. I may feel like no one is closer to me. Maybe no one wants to do nothing with me. No one wants, everyone is judging me. Everyone maybe, they see a lot of wrong things. They see a lot of bad things that I do. But Jesus is saying, I am not doing what? I am not judging. Praise be to Jesus. Jesus is telling us, I am not judging you. So you come and follow me. I will show you the example. Maybe you did not have a good example. Maybe I did not have a good example from my father. Maybe I did not have a good example from my mother. Maybe I did not see a good example from society. And now I am lost because I don't know who to follow. Now today Jesus is telling us, follow. Praise be to Jesus. You don't have a good example. You did not see a good example. But Jesus is telling you, I will give you a good example. So you do what? Follow. So he left all and rose up and followed who? Jesus.